Class 7th. Subject: Social Science. Lesson 7. India and the World: When, Where and How. We have studied in the 6th class how early man became a gatherer from a hunter. How did humans started growing different crops? How did they establish Mahajanapadas from small tribes? In the beginning, human beings lived on the banks of rivers, but due to increase in population and other sources of water, they started living away from the banks of rivers. You can see in the map of India that a subcontinent is a big geographical unit which looks separate from the main continent, Asia. Terms used to describe the Indian subcontinent. The Indian subcontinent comprises the present 6 countries of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh and India. In the past it was known as Hindustan or Bharatavarsha. New and old terms. History gave various names to India in different periods. In Vedic period, it was known as Aryavata, that means country of Aryana. It was called Bharatavarsha at the name of King Bharat during the time of Mahabharata and Purans. The Iranians used the term Hindu for India. The Greeks used the term Indus for India. In Bible Hodu term is used for it. When Buddhism was introduced in China, the Chinese used the term Tianchu for India. After Huinzang's visit, another term, Yintu, used for India. Time frame of the medieval period of Indian history. Generally, the history of every country is divided into 3 periods: ancient, medieval and modern. The period between the ancient and modern periods of history is known as the medieval period. In India, the medieval period stretches from the 8th to the 18th century. The 8th century has been taken as the beginning of the medieval period in India, as many changes in society, politics, economy, culture, and religion took place. Similarly, the breakup of the Mughal Empire and coming of the British into power in about the middle of the 18th century marked the end of the medieval period. This medieval period is further divided into 2 parts: early medieval period and later medieval period. The period from the 8th to the beginning of the 13th century is regarded as the early medieval period, while the period from the 13th century onward up to the 18th century is regarded as the later medieval period. Major historical trends. In the medieval period we find certain historical trends which differentiate it from the ancient period. During this period, the coming of the Muslims led to the growth of a composite culture. There was a lot of interaction between the Hindus and the Muslims. Most of the languages, particularly Hindi and Urdu, that we speak even today, developed during this period. In the medieval period, many of our social customs, traditions, and religious beliefs have their origin. During this time, much mutual relations were established between India and the world. Trade led to a greater interaction of people from different parts of the world. Mutual transactions were quite high at that time. India borrowed many things from the traditions of other countries. The Bhakti and the Sufi saints brought about a better understanding of the basic principles of Hinduism and Islam. During this period, there was marked improvement in expansion in trade and commerce. Historical sources. The historians depend on archaeological and literary sources about the information of medieval period. Archaeological sources. Archaeological sources include ancient monuments, temples, inscriptions, coins, utensils, tools, weapons, ornaments and paintings, etc. 1. Ancient buildings, they include temples, like Khajuraho, Bhubaneswar, Konark, etc. Mosques, like Jama Masjid, Moti Masjid, etc. Forts, Red Fort, Agra Fort, etc. Pillars, i.e. Kutab Mina, palaces, Jaisalmer, Jaipur, etc. 2. Inscriptions. Inscriptions provide us information about important events, dates, the personal qualities of the rulers, about the specimens of art and the administration measures, etc. of this period. 3. Coins. Coins throw light on important historical events, dates and personalities. Some coins give us information about the economic condition of the country during this period. Literary sources. Historians depend on literary sources, well as archaeologically sources, to know about Indian medieval period. People used paper to write religious grants, accounts of rulers, government documents, etc. because the price of the paper was reduced in the medieval period. Literary sources include autobiographies and biographies, chronicles of rulers and dynasties, documents, etc. These provide us important information about the medieval period. Accounts of foreign travelers. Accounts of foreign travelers are also another important literary sources of this period. Muslim travelers visiting India wrote an account of their travels. Ibn Battuta's Kitab-ul-Rila account describes the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Al-Biruni also wrote an account about his stay in India. Abdul Razak visited the kingdom of Vijayanagara and wrote about the conditions in the kingdom. Besides this, the accounts written by European travelers throw light on the conditions in India during their visit. Painting. Painting, in addition to giving general information, also gives us knowledge about the development of art, especially the art of painting during the medieval period. Music. Along with painting, music is also a good source of historical knowledge. The Mughal rulers, except Aurangzeb, patronized it. Therefore, music developed during their reign. Akbar patronized many musicians. Among them Tansen was a famous musician. Thus, music also is a good source of historical knowledge. It points out to the fusion of the Hindu and Muslim cultures.